Hey, wait a second. What happened to Francis the Brain? Arnold the Strong and Mr. Cool?
Well, in the real world, I'm not that smart. I'm not strong.
I'm not cool.
Reality check.
I hope you put your guesses in, but this movie was Spy Kids 3 Game Over. Y'all, I remember when this movie came out, I was in elementary school. First off, it was a 3D movie, and that was a big deal early 2000s when you walk in, get your 3D glasses, and you get to put them on as you watch the movie. But the cool thing about this movie was when it went to DVD, they gave you 3D glasses in your DVD, so like you could watch it at home. My issue, there were 5 in my family growing up, and the Spy Kids 3D DVD only gave you 4 glasses. So we always had to fight over who didn't get a pair of glasses to watch the movie. And the cool thing also while watching this is how they directed you to actually put on your glasses. The characters would put on the glasses, and then it would like show up in text, glasses on, glasses off. And I love how they kind of made you feel like you were a part of the movie, like back in the day. And you're like, oh my goodness, I gotta put on my glasses. And like how they did the 3D effects, like they just did extra effects that if you weren't watching it in 3D, you didn't get the full experience. I honestly have to say that I believe this movie has held up, and I'm actually giving it 2 thumbs up, thebomb.com. Y'all, this was my least favorite Spy Kids as a kid. Watching it as an adult, it actually was pretty good. And I don't know, I think it's like 2 is still my favorite, but then it's a toss up between 3 and 1 because this one was really good. And the thing I realized watching it this time is there are so many lessons in this movie. Oh my goodness. Like, this movie came out when video games were becoming a really, really big thing in the early 2000s. So there's like all these lessons like, oh, you're, like how I started this video, people who you talk to online or play games with, they may not be the people that you think they are. And that happened in this movie. It was a lot better than I remember it being growing up. And another thing that I thought was so entertaining, the grandfather in this movie and how he was just on his side quest to release the toy maker the whole movie, and he was just like, he would just come in and out of the movie at all times, but he's just here for revenge, and he's like, I'm releasing the toy maker from this game, and everyone's like, no, don't do it. He's like, I'm releasing him. And then the big moment at the end was he's the one that goes to talk to the toy maker, and he says, I wanted to release you to just let you know I forgive you. And that's a whole other lesson in this movie. Like, there were so many lessons, but I like that because that's really what the toy maker needed to hear. And he had a change of heart. He repented, and he was like, oh, I don't need to be evil anymore because the person I wronged 30 years ago forgave me. So now I can try to be a better person. And that's just kind of the power of forgiveness. But oh my goodness, this movie was so good. And the cool thing is, since this was early 2000s, this was really pretty much before most people had individual cell phones like we do now. So like when the funny thing about this is there's like a line where Junie like falls in love with this AI character in the Game Over movie, and she like disappears at one part in the movie, and he's like, I didn't even get her email address. And like, if that was now, it'd be, I didn't get her phone number. So it's like kind of cool how times have changed. And then it's like Carmen, towards the end of the movie, the 3 guys who have kind of went on this journey with them, they are about to exit the game, and they're like, here's our email addresses rather than phone numbers, because that's where we were like early 2000s. And it's just the whole fact that Junie fell in love with a video game character, and then his sister Carmen is like, Junie, she's not even real. It's just, this movie had so much going on. I really enjoyed it. I love the part at the end too, where it's everyone from like the previous movies. So like you have the mom, the dad, the grandma come back, but then you have Floop and Minion from the first Spy Kids. Then from the second one, you have the amusement park guy, and you have the geneticist. They come back too. And then you have Gary and Gertie Giggles come back. Like, it's just like all the main characters from the previous movies come back. And I think that is so cool. And you have Machete too, their uncle. And then the guy who in all the previous movies, he's like, I'm not your uncle. In this movie, he's like, I'm their uncle. And then he comes and helps. And it's just, I feel like they ended it so well. Like, they brought everyone back, and it was just such a good ending. If you've not watched this movie, it was very entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I also forgot about Alexa Vega's song, Game Over. That was a bop too. So I guess just after the second one, she just started making music for these movies. I just really, really enjoyed this movie. I didn't remember it being so good, but yes, I'm gonna have to start watching it more often because it was very entertaining. I laughed a lot in this movie. I laughed a lot just because it was funny, and also I feel like it was a lot deeper than I remember it being. Like, there were just so many learning points in this movie that you could take away, and it was just a lot more that I appreciated as an adult. So yeah, if you haven't seen this movie recently, you should watch it because it's very entertaining. But okay, I will see you in the next video.
This has been another episode of Real Talk with Noel.